Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming here on Twitter, as well as those of you on YouTube. Happy Friday, March 20th, 3:05 p.m. Pacific time. It's been a busy week. A little toasty out here in Southern California as we're approaching 80, but it's quite pleasant. I am admittedly not going to be around for NBA games tonight for the first time in a while, because first of all, the slate is horrendous, even though I know the Knicks are playing. But if there was a night to get out and not worry about what's happening in the association, this is it, as there is not a lot to look forward to as the NBA once again siphons away their major matchups to not be going head to head with March Madness. They do this against the NFL. They do this, they counter program against the NFL as well as March Madness. But once this weekend is over, they start to get back, kick it into high gear for the playoff run. But it is Friday. Nevertheless, I'll be here for the next hour or so. We can take a look if anyone has any angles. Your boy got back on the wagon, by the way. Got back on the wagon for that game yesterday. The Heat Lakers. I beat, of course, it's closing line value. I beat it once again, considerably. And guess what happened? The Lakers won straight up. And you know what's even more frustrating about that game yesterday? Because I had the Heat -3. I had the Heat -130. I bet it overnight. I bet it in the morning. And I still wrote it out despite the line ballooning up to like 6 before the news dropped that LeBron, Reeves, and Luka were all going to be playing. I could have bought out of it. I chose not to. After the Heat went up by 13 at the end of the first quarter, I could have bought it back at 3-1 to hedge off pretty much everything for a very small price, and I chose to let it ride because if the Heat somehow win the first 6 minutes of the second quarter, you could see the Lakers just punting and head to Orlando. The problem is it did not go that way. The Lakers came back, they took the lead, and the rest is history. And your boy took a huge L on another closing line value spot that didn't necessarily didn't play out to have true closing line value, but it was, I think, a very sharp way of beating the markets the night before, because that was as big of a schedule loss as it gets in the NBA. Schedule losses are second legs of road back-to-backs where the team that's traveling is crossing time zones. This happens a lot with Denver. Teams leaving Denver or going to Denver. Denver had to do it themselves, playing a national television game in San Antonio from a nationally televised game the night before in Denver. So the Lakers go from Houston to Miami. They don't get into their hotel until 5 a.m. And I was listening to the post-game press conference where JJ Redick was talking about the process of those big three getting onto the floor. And he said he was practically sitting up in his bed waiting for a text message or a call from the Lakers training staff performance team, because they get a green light or a red light. The green light means we are approving these players to be made available for you tonight, and so on and so forth. There's been several examples throughout the season where JJ gets a red light and then guys are out. But yesterday he got a green light. And then JJ said he went to LeBron, Austin, and Luka and said, do you guys want to play tonight? And they all, within a second, were like, yeah, we're going. Oh, we're in. And part of me thinks because LeBron, if LeBron says we're playing, then Luka and Reeves are playing no matter what. There is no LeBron plays and the 20-year-olds sit out and rest. Especially this being back in Miami, where LeBron was there for the first time this season, and he only plays in Miami once per year because Western Conference versus Eastern Conference. You know, he wants to get up for that game. Not as much as a Cleveland game, but he does have history with the Heat fans, the city of Miami, Pat Riley, and he wanted to play. The result of which was them coming out of the gates stumbling like a drunk, leaving a pub. And I thought that might be it for them, but that team is fucking resilient right now. LeBron puts up a triple-double where he goes 8 of 12 from the field. triple-double, 8 of 12 from the field on a night after he missed only one shot. And the shot that he missed, he got clobbered by Alperen Şengün, which could have very easily been a foul to keep his perfect record from the field. But Luka goes for 60. That is now, without a doubt, the worst trade in professional sports history. That is not hyperbole or prisoner of the moment. It was already. And if it somehow couldn't get worse, it did. Max Christie, Anthony Davis in a pick is the worst transaction in the history of professional sports. I think I've once said it's probably the worst trade in NBA history. Then I elevated it or promoted it to worst trade in North American pro sports history, then North American sports in general history. Now it's the worst trade in professional sports history worldwide. That includes soccer as well, with transfers and whatnot. This is the worst transaction ever processed in the history of this business. Luka is unbelievable. He can be very unlikable the way that he converses with the referees and complains, but denying his talent is a waste of time. He gets anything he wants. And his ability to step back and shoot, especially from the left side of the floor. How many of those step back threes can this man hit in 1 week? Then he dribble. You force him right, you run him off the line, like Kevin Durant did in the second game at Houston. If you don't have help, he's a right-handed player. He just gets to the ring and has wide open layups because you try and take away the patented step back. Then he starts navigating, looking for fouls, and he's got like a force field around him. He always positions his body to put himself in harm's way so that he gets the contact. He's so good. And that LeBron is putting up triple doubles at the age of 41. Not having to reinvent himself the way that some of the Iron Men of past have. I'm thinking Vince Carter became a spot-up shooter. Carmelo Anthony became a floor spacer. That's just recent times. But LeBron is just still LeBron. He's one of the best finishers in the league. And what LeBron and Luka both have as a common denominator is size for their position. If you've ever seen these guys in person, LeBron is colossal, and Luka Doncic is so big for a backcourt player, a ball handler. He can see everything unobstructed. I didn't even realize it personally until I saw him in person for the first time in my life, other than an All-Star game. But in a real game, I saw him against the New York Knicks when they played here in Los Angeles. He's just so much bigger than everybody. That is why that contributes to his efficiency and accuracy shooting the basketball. My microphone is broken. Of course it is. Hold on. Of course, we can go one episode. How much of that did you guys actually hear? It worked last episode, but not this one. Thank you. Thank you, AJ Like Sports. In the chat said, your mic is cooked. Timestamp 6:12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you. Someone who can finally, every time they're like, go here, look at this. I'm like, link, something, context. So what was the last thing you heard me say? Because I just went on a 2-minute diatribe about Luka's size. If you didn't hear what I said, sorry about the microphone. Essentially, how big that guy is, how big Luka is. I didn't realize it until I saw it in person. Between him and LeBron, LeBron plays bigger than his size, and he's colossal. Luka Doncic, for a backcourt player, can see everything and anything and everything. Oh, you guys were able to hear that. You guys able to hear through the broken mic? It gets all staticky, right? That's the problem we used to have. But StreamYard, it's always something different. All right, let me scroll through some of these chats I missed. Let's talk about Wemby's game winner last night to clinch the playoffs. First time in 7 years. Surreal feeling. Spurs headed to the playoffs for the first time since 2019. The Spurs last night, by the way, were left dead to rights by Phoenix. Iguodala hit that little put shot. Jordan Goodwin in the corner hit that three. The game was over. You could feel that sense. The air was coming out of the balloon. The crowd wasn't as into it. They were ready to party and celebrate. Then that Fleming guy missed a couple of free throws. De'Aaron Fox gets to the rim. The Spurs get a stop. And then Victor Wembanyama is left on an island where he's going to be unbothered by anything or anyone or anybody, anything, anyone. And you knew that shot was going in. And they have some serious camaraderie on that team. The vibes amongst those players feel similar to when OKC was coming up last year, barking into the microphone, throwing towels on each other's heads. You could tell Wemby, especially after when he got emotional against the Clippers, to now the primal scream into the microphone. He runs over to bang that big ass drum. Like, he really does. Well, he cares about the performance and the results, but I think he really, really likes these guys that he's playing with. Carly says I have to say something about Unk. What about Unk? I don't know what Unk is, Carly. Sorry. Fleming is a glass cleaner. Well, he's certainly not a free throw shooter. I'll tell you that much. Helwig has been on this Keldon for chemistry kick for a while. He says he's important for chemistry, and the whole team loves Wemby so much. The vibes are 2014-esque, maybe even better, definitely better. 2014 didn't feel like. I mean, they have characters on this team. They have. Yeah, I mean, they're young guys. And a quick side note, like, so on today's SiriusXM show, Antonio and I had on Derek Queen, the rookie for the New Orleans Pelicans, and I felt like I was talking to an alien. He is 20 years old. It seems like a very nice kid, but he is like a child. He's so young in the way that they see things, the way that they articulate, the way that they see the world. I'm like, I just have nothing in common with this guy whatsoever. Part of me being a boomer. And Antonio knows him well because he sees him every day as a part of his job. But I was just shocked by, like, there are so many cultural differences between someone like that and myself. And then, like, his brain is still, retaining information. He's learning because he's new to this business. I can't even imagine someone that is at that stage in their lives, like Derek Queen is, still developing, probably still growing, still feels like I felt like a kid at 18. I was a freshman in college. I was playing video games. I was eating fast food, staying up late, getting into shenanigans. But then you give that kid millions and millions of dollars. I kind of understand why some of these guys get into trouble, because I think it's just more like natural and a product of where they're at in their lives. If they were 30 something, if they were in their 40s, you'd be like, bro, what are you doing? But I really got a full blast of or just the reminder of what it's like to be that age. That's all. Carr wants Tar Heels. No, I didn't pick up on that. We don't need to talk about that. Unless you want me to. I mean, Seth Trimble was standing at the line practically shaking. He didn't want the free throws. Vesar didn't want the free throws. What did you expect from a team that doesn't have its best player? That's arguably the most talented player that Carolina has had since talent, not best, because Hansbrough is the best, but a talented player. Name me a more talented Tar Heel since Antoine Jameson. Even Vince Carter, Rasheed Wallace, maybe, Stackhouse, Ty Lawson, Harrison Barnes. He is the most talented Tar Heel I've seen since Antoine Jameson. And you're without him. And he's the entire offense. You have a bunch of role players out there trying to close out a game, slows down into the half-court set. All of a sudden, you need big-time players to make big-time plays, and we just don't have any. What's up, Sims? Does Victor still have potential to be the greatest Spur of all time, with all due respect to the big fundamental? Great question. So I'm on the record thinking that as long as Victor Wembanyama remains mostly healthy, he will go down as the best basketball player of all time. I've already got him as the most talented basketball player of all time, considering his size, 7'4", 7'5", and his dribbling ability, shooting ability. Like, no one should be able to move like that and have that skill. We're used to Sean Bradley, Manute Bol, Boban Marjanovic type of 7'3" guys, 7'4" guys, not Wemby. Now, you asked me about, can he be better than Tim Duncan? Well, he's only got to win about 6 rings, make the All-Star team 15 years. How many Defensive Player of the Years, first team all defenses did Tim Duncan have? 10? Hellwick, you would know this off the top of your head. Regular season MVPs, finals MVPs, in an NBA that has significantly more parity than it did back then. So it's going to be an uphill climb. But if we were able to scroll down to settings and turn off injuries, I think Victor Wembanyama will end up 25 years from now being regarded as the best basketball player of all time. We're now already in, year 3, not even done with year 3. He is 3 games away in the standings because OKC is a 3-game lead on San Antonio. If San Antonio were to somehow finish with the NBA's best record, Victor Wembanyama is going to win MVP in year 3, which is just, it's got to be unprecedented. But the only way Shea will not win it is OKC falling to 2nd. Otherwise, it's going to be Shea. And I was going through the list today. So it's funny how the ladder has updated itself. I've got Shea written in blood. He effectively eliminated Nikola Jokic from being able to win the MVP. Tim Duncan had 15 all defenses. 15? 8 first, 7 second. Holy shit. Okay, Wemby's probably going to do that as long as he's in the NBA for another 15 seasons. And he'll end up having 5 to 10 Defensive Player of the Years. He's eventually going to have regular season MVPs. I don't think they win the title this year, but it's going to be close. Usually these perennial superstars start winning their first championship in year 6, year 7. That's Jordan. That's LeBron. That's Giannis. Now, Kobe did it early, but it's nice when you have Shaq. All right. But the current MVP ladder, Shea can only be overtaken by Victor Wembanyama right now. And let's remember that the MVP vote is not just submitting a ballot like you're voting for a politician. You have to rank first place, second place, third place, fourth place, all the way down to fifth place. Each of those places is assigned a certain amount of points. So considering that there are six super legitimate NBA MVP candidates this season, unfortunately, one of them in Cade Cunningham is likely not to qualify considering his collapsed lung injury. But just for the sake of this conversation and getting the chat involved, let's just say Cade was eligible. The ladder right now, this is not only my opinion, but it's correct. It's a fact of how the MVP will end up if the season were to end today. Shea would win. Wemby would come in second. Third is the tough one. I cannot believe that I am having a conversation about dropping Nikola Jokic to fourth in the MVP. He is having almost as good of a season as he did last year, which was the best campaign of his career. Statistically, eye test. But the problem is Denver is falling down the standings. And winning obviously matters. So that third place is going to be determined by if Jokic can bring the Nuggets back to the 3 seed. The bronze medal to me goes to whoever places higher, the Nuggets or the Lakers. So it's Luka, Jokic, or Jokic, Luka, depending on I can make the case for both of them, but I will determine the tiebreaker based on whose team finishes with the better record. So that's 3-4. And then you get to number 5, and it's like, oh, that Cade Cunningham guy, who is the high usage primary option without a secondary scorer on the best team in the Eastern Conference that has had one of the biggest turnarounds in the league's history the past couple of seasons. So he's just in 5th. Okay. And then that guy, Jaylen Brown, who on a Celtics team that was supposed to be stripping down for parts, a Celtics team that was going to have a bridge year, the bunch of guys off the bench, like all he did was keep them in second place in the Eastern Conference with some colossal box scores. And he's not even going to make the top 5. You see how ridiculous this is? And we don't even waste your time mentioning Kawhi having best season of his career, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards. Those type of names aren't even going to get 5th place votes. This is a plethora of elite superstar talent that we currently have at the top of the NBA. And if OKC finishes, and they're starting to crush souls again, if they finish with the league's best record, Shea pretty undoubtedly is going to win the MVP. But there'll be some first place Victor Wembanyama votes because people are thinking, well, San Antonio beat these guys probably 4 out of 5 times. So even though they finished with a better record, that many decisive victories, especially on a stage like the NBA Cup semifinals, nationally televised games where Chet Holmgren and Shea were available, Victor Wembanyama came out on top. So it's valid if you want to place a Victor Wembanyama first place vote. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's the most influential player on the court on either side of the floor, no matter who else is out there, including Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Nobody influences the result of a play like Victor Wembanyama. The problem is for Victor, he's going to have MVP Defensive Player of the Year. Shai's going to have MVP Clutch Player of the Year, which is now an overwhelming favorite. Especially, I think they have the futures up here on ProfitX somewhere. Overwhelming favorite to win Clutch Player of the Year. Shai has been as good as ever, can you believe it, in the final minutes of close games. So he doesn't only have that 20-point streak going, not only is his team the best, but to take the champ's title in boxing, you have to practically knock him out because it is very rare that a champ will ever lose on the scorecards. So how can Victor Wembanyama knock out Shai? That would be, he's already taken care of the first punch by beating him heads up, but he would have the big uppercut to end the match is going to be team record. Wemby can hit game winner after game winner. And oh, by the way, they're not beating OKC in the standings unless Wemby does these 35, 15, and 5-5-5 games, like 5-by-5 games. So for them to get there, he's going to have to be that special, and it'll all naturally, organically take care of itself. I don't think they'll get there because 3 is actually a lot to make up considering it's March 20th and I think the regular season ends on the April 12th. 3 games is not like baseball where you're playing every single day. You can make it up in a week. These teams are playing 3 games a week now for the most part. And who's going to beat OKC? And San Antonio is just going to go completely undefeated? It's a tough, tall task. Stoney says that the Lakers got the Pacers, Nets, and Wizards coming up back to back to back to back. They are not dropping out in third. Okay, fair. Steve says they are on their feet at the No Name Saloon. Utah State just won. Was it close? AJ in the chat is asking thoughts on KD double team situation and Houston's offense. It is as telegraphed and least innovative offense in the NBA. And it's not because Ime Udoka doesn't know how to draw up plays. He likely has an offensive coordinator sitting on that bench as experienced as anyone in the business. Their problem is, look at the difference between the Rockets and the Spurs. The Spurs, when they close out a game, have De'Aaron Fox, clutch player of the year. Victor Wembanyama, best player to ever touch a basketball. The most talented player to ever touch a basketball. They surround them with Steph Castle, who didn't play last night, but generally Steph Castle, who is already elite at occupying space, finishing and slashing, making use of his openness. In the 2 corners, they have Devin Vassell and Julian Champagnie, who are dead-eye knockdown shooters. The Rockets may have Kevin Durant, but he is not navigating double teams like Luka Doncic did in that game in Houston, where he went around the back, around the world, hit Rui Hachimura for that alley-oop, split the double team. Kevin Durant's handles are much more, I feel like, street ball moves in isolation to get to a spot in a game of one-on-one to pull up, and you're not going to contest this. So Kevin Durant struggles with dribbling around and through double teams as opposed to someone like Shea and Luka who can go straight through him. Now, they're sending double teams shamelessly at Kevin Durant because you can pick your poison on what Rocket is going to beat you. Antonio said something brilliant on yesterday's show that you're going to hear me repeat often during the playoffs, which is this league now consists of guys that are so talented and so good at offense that if you're defending them, you have to essentially decide, what are we willing to concede? What are we willing to give up? Because you have to send a double team to get the ball out of the best player's hands. They didn't do that to Wemby last night. It cost them. They didn't do it to Shea, the Denver Nuggets. Spencer Jones watched Shea bury them. Shea did it again one of the next nights when he doesn't catch double teams. Those stars, Anthony Edwards, those Jalen Brunson, those guys are just too good not to double team. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, go down the list. Luka. Did I say that? Okay. What are you willing to give up? And when you play the Rockets, what you are willing to give up it's not like pick your poison. No, we're going to leave Tari Eason. We're going to leave Josh Okogie. We're going to leave Amen Thompson, at least outside the three-point line, and Dorian Finney-Smith. We're going to leave Tari Eason because he has made 1 3-pointer since the All-Star break. 1. So you are watching J.J. Redick deploy a defensive strategy in which Kevin Durant said in the second post-game press conference he could hear J.J. barking instructions to his players to deny Kevin Durant entry inside the three-point arc. Come off of the corner guys even if it's the strong side. Deny the entry pass because we don't want Kevin Durant being able to catch, turn, face, and elevate in one of his comfort zones. So they were just completely denying him. If Kevin Durant wants to go get a dribble handoff grenade near the half-court logo, we're willing to live with that. Guess who lived with that? The Charlotte Hornets. Kevin Durant was able to beat him coming out of the All-Star break on an Amazon Prime Saturday afternoon where Durant hit like 7 or 8, just such tough buckets. And you want to applaud him for his brilliance and display of talent, offensive prowess. But the problem is you're watching that like there's no way that this is sustainable. You would have to do that 4 out of 7 times against an elite defense that's going to make it even tougher. Not the Charlotte Hornets. Good luck. And the result of which is what we've seen recently from him, where the Rockets offense just drowns in quicksand in the final 5 minutes. There are so many options of guys that you can leave in Houston to go target Şengün, Durant, to collapse on top of them and get the ball out of their hands. If Tari Eason wants to make 3 punished threes against us, we will tip our hat and say, you were the better man today. Congratulations. But we are willing to bet in an NBA structure that is not March Madness. It is not sudden death. It is 4 out of 7 games that Tari Eason and Josh Okogie cannot make enough punished threes to make it worth continuing to guard them and not send the help to Kevin Durant. That is the biggest difference from the Rockets up to the Spurs, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Thunder, you name it. You cannot leave anyone on that Spurs team. Right now, you cannot leave anyone on that Lakers team. And you see where I'm getting at here. Same goes for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, they tried it. And Alex Caruso threw up a medicine ball against the Denver Nuggets before Chet Holmgren caught it and still won them the game. No, that wasn't. That wasn't Denver. Who did Chet beat, Helwick? Who did Chet beat at the buzzer? Celtics? I think it was the Celtics. Yeah. Alex Caruso. Yes, it was because Joe Mazzulla sent the double team. I remember, okay. They sent the double team to Shea the moment that he crossed the half-court line. And then Alex Caruso was in the corner after a swing pass, and he threw up a medicine ball. But you're willing to live with Caruso beating you. You're not willing to live with Shea because Shea can shoot over 5 guys, let alone 2. Let's talk about the Jazz tanking strategy. Pull up their box score last night. They put a guy, Anderson Garcia, 48 minutes. He's been in the league for a week. So, yeah, they have last night's Jazz roster had several two-way guys, a 10-day contract. They're doing everything they can to lose games, and they still beat the Milwaukee Bucks by like 30 points. They have to be so pissed. Is Cam Thomas just going to be out of the NBA, by the way? Have you seen what's happened to his minutes since the trade? Is the high-volume bucket getter, the Dion Waiters, the J.R. Smith, the Swaggy P, that type of player, are they endangered going on extinct here shortly? Sure feels like it. We don't need to talk about. There's nothing to talk about with UNC. They were barely favored to win that game. Who cares? They didn't have the best player in college. What do you think was going to happen? You too, Andrew? Says I'm late to the stream, but wondering if you can give a free hug through the stream as I'm still in my feelings. It didn't help that it was death by paper cuts, but you could all see that coming. Like Carolina's up by 18, and then they don't get a bucket for 8 minutes because they don't have anyone that can create a shot. You're just relying on dumping it to a big guy and hoping he gets to the free throw line, and he missed a whole bunch of free throws. And then they have some dynamic backcourt players, and that's what's required in March Madness when the game slows down into the half court. You need guys that can make tough shots in the backcourt, period. And without Caleb Wilson, That was void on that team's roster. Miles Turner and Kyle Kuzma. Like, I can't believe they're still going out there. That Bucks team, I remember all the flack I caught at the beginning of the season. I'm like, this is going to be. That was my biggest under that I took. Their season win total was like 44, I think, over 500. I'm like, this is the most broken roster that I have seen. Damian Lillard's zombie contract is on the books for 5 more years. The roster makes no sense. It overlaps. Giannis is going to want out at some point. He's going to miss games. How could you ever believe that this is a relevant playoff team? And it's only because number 34 is still in uniform. They are one of the roughest watches. Armin, what's happening? Says, yeah, the Bucks under win total already paid out. I cashed that opening night. I assume that money made opening night. I have a chance at winning my Pelicans bet. Here come the Pels again at the end of the season. Over under 30 regular season wins. They are hot, baby. Yeah, we talked about the Lakers win last night. I had some crackling and some static, but Luka's 6. Now you see how hard it is to get 83. No more of this fake. 83 is 83. Luka emptied the clip last night. Emptied it to get to 60. He was as good as ever. And he didn't shoot 43 free throws, but he still shot a bunch. And just like Bam, a lot of those fouls were valid. Drew says that's fair. That's some clarity that didn't cross my mind. It was the missed open threes and missed free throws that did me in. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, Carolina still should have won that game. Hubert Davis cannot allow your guy. You're protecting a 1-point lead in the final seconds, and you get a 5-second violation with a timeout in your pocket. Hubert has to save his kids. These are not NBA players that have an internal clock that have done this for years and years. These are teenagers. You cannot assume they're going to know, oh, it's almost 5 seconds. I should probably call a timeout. You're supposed to do it for him. That one was on Hubert. And yet still they had an opportunity to win the game at the free throw line. Seth Trimble missed a free throw. They had an opportunity with Seth Trimble's steal at the buzzer. They had like 5 chances to win that game. And Drew, you should not be sad for a second, because this team would have lost by 40 to Illinois. 40. Why do you want to go get embarrassed? This is why I wanted us to lose in the ACC tournament. Why give Duke the satisfaction of beating us twice after we had the win of the season against them in Chapel Hill? They have to settle for a split. They have a better team. We would have lost by 40. Illinois is the biggest team in the country, height-wise. We would have gotten annihilated without Caleb Wilson. What else you got, chat? If anyone's looking for action tonight, look at this shit, man. You got a Pistons-Warriors game. No Cade, no Steph, nobody. Warriors are under 500. They're practically tanking. Who gives a shit? The Knicks are 18.5-point favorites against the Nets. I mean, why? I'm not even going to watch. This is probably going to be the first Knicks game I miss all year. I am going out on a little birthday dinner date. She's allowing me to watch the fourth quarter from the table, though, so I can do my video. But, well, I'm not even going to waste my time. The game's going to be over by then. I'd say the biggest game on the slate is Hawks-Rockets. I like the Hawks there, 3.5. Probably catch some 4 and 4.5, too. 11-game winning streak for the Hawks. The Rockets are spiraling, but this is a good opportunity for them to get away from the Lakers. Trailblazers versus Timberwolves. Naz Reid looks like he's a go. Trailblazers are just mediocre against Celtics Grizzlies. Don't waste my time. Raptors Nuggets. Nikola Jokic hopefully gets this team back after losing at Memphis. That was another game I lost. I took the Nuggets in the fourth quarter when they were down by 7 points to the Grizzlies. They were plus money. And I just happened to find the one game in which the team does not come back. Trendsetters in the chat says, is there a world where the Knicks struggle to score in the playoffs and plug in Jordan Clarkson? Puts up 25 points in 17 minutes like Cam Payne and Alec Burks. There was a time, Trendsetter, where Alec Burks, in that game 7 in the first series against the Pacers, when Brunson broke his hand or his wrist, Josh Hart left, OG Anunoby's hamstring, the whole team was out, and our offense relied on Alec Burks. And he actually did pretty decent, all things considered. Then it was Cam Payne. Just kind of add water, put him in the microwave for 30 seconds, and out come buckets. But yes, Jordan Clarkson has earned his time back with the Knicks because he was benched. Diawara got yanked in the game against the LA Lakers. Diawara had taken his minutes because Diawara is like this up-and-coming gem, who, by the way, is on a second-round deal where he makes $1 million, and that's it. He's going to get paid this summer by someone. He's really good. But Diawara was struggling. He gets yanked by Mike Brown. Mike Brown puts in Jordan Clarkson, and that was Clarkson's best game of the season, despite the Knicks losing. Then he goes to Utah, another place that he's got some history with, and he has his best game of the season. So they have found what they signed up for. And now it's going to be on Deuce McBride when he returns to earn his minutes back, because Landry Shamet had to earn his minutes back. Clarkson had to earn his minutes back. Kolek has to earn his minutes back. All those bench guys are competing. Jose Alvarado is probably a mainstay, but it also speaks to the chemistry the Knicks team is playing with, because Jordan Clarkson credited Alvarado, Kolek, Bridges, and someone else off the bench. Oh, Diawara. He said that those guys after practice stuck around to play him in ones, which is games of one-on-one, because Jordan Clarkson's not playing that much in the game. He needs to get a real workout in, and those guys sacrifice some of their time to spend with JC, despite Clarkson being the guy that may take their minutes. That only really happens on a team where guys are liking each other and working towards a common goal. DiVincenzo went insane. Oh, I forgot about Dante was on that team. Yeah, it was Alec Burks and DiVincenzo. And the Knicks perimeter defense collapsed, you know. Did you guys see the story, by the way, about, it drew my interest because I walked by that club, but there was some American college kid on spring break in Barcelona that ended up dead, and he was like floating in the water. Right, if you've ever been to Barcelona, there's clubs on the beach right there, and he was just dead. How the hell does that happen? Something tells me he got fucked up. He took drugs. The drugs had fentanyl, and then he went to the water to like get away, and may have just fell in or something. I don't know. Or is it foul play? What a crazy story. What else are you guys up to in the chat? If you guys wouldn't mind, but this is in YouTube. Like, retweet the stream, get your friends in here, whatever. Like, subscribe, and something on YouTube. Comment. Oh, right. Because you got to cook the algorithm. You know, anyone's doing nowadays. They're just creating content for algorithms. Something like this show would do nothing on YouTube because it's not about a trending topic. It's a live video. It's not evergreen. I probably wouldn't take the time to create a thumbnail. Right? You have to hook people in. I mean, it's good to get people in the front door that way. I would say that my equivalent building a Twitter following was like doing NBA highlights, and then maybe they'll stick around to see some of the other stuff that I'm up to. If I can retain 1 out of every 10, that's probably a success. But like, I just hate that the content world has settled on needing to essentially bait people into coming into the theater to consume the product and the project, right? I guess it was always going to be this way, but whatever. Steve's getting up shots again. God bless. You will not find me on a court. And dude, when you get to this age, so my history of getting hurt playing hoops, your history of getting hurt playing hoops, Antonio said on the show today. Oh, Naz Reid is just ruled out. Fuck, hold on. Before I get back to story time. Naz Reid just ruled out for Timberwolves today. What does that mean? Gobert. Who's going to take the backup scoring minutes? Do you even know? Sunmu gets more shots. It's not like Gobert's usage is going to go up. Bones Highland? Is it Bones Highland? Who gets the minutes because of Naz Reid first man off the bench as the floor spacer? Maybe it's Bones Highland. Maybe this is over 12. I just hate taking overs pregame. You can wait until halfway through the first quarter and probably catch this at 10, 11 and a half. Anyway, back to story time. So yeah, I've been to the ER twice because of basketball, in addition to all these other little injuries. You had your knee problem. Antonio was doing drills, not even playing, just doing basic drills with a 12-year-old team that he coaches in New Orleans. And he was doing a broad jump to show the kids how to land. And he thought he blew out his meniscus again, just doing a basic broad jump. Thankfully, he said the reports came back that everything's still intact, but he felt like something was moving down there. And I'm just kind of like, it's so hard to believe that so many injuries can occur on a basketball court, but they do. And I had another friend who blew out their Achilles after, you know what, I'm going to go play this very recreational and friendly pickup game with buds because we haven't played hoops in a while. And then he's like, I blew out my Achilles and I'm not going to be able to do anything for a year and a half. It's like, holy shit. You cannot be suffering those injuries at this age. So I will not be going onto a basketball court. That's for sure. What am I eating? I'm not eating anything right now, but I will be eating Mexican food shortly. Going to the beach for a little happy hour cocktail. If anything crazy happens in the NBA tonight, I'm going to need someone to tell me because I probably won't be watching other than for just a couple of minutes in between bathroom runs or something. But this is a good night to get out and avoid. If you wanted to get away from the NBA, the slate stinks. It's gorgeous out. It's Friday. There's March Madness on, so most people are paying attention to that. I'm more concerned about missing a police chase, but it is what it is. Now, the place we're going is some like upscale Mexican. So I'm going to get some street tacos and a quesadilla, I think. Four more PT sessions. 4 more. How many total? Was it been like every other day for a year? Oh, PT just sounds so, I don't want to ever have to deal with that. Now, could I get injured playing tennis? Yeah, because it's still intense, but the physical contact isn't there. What's up, Jazz Espanol? What part of Espanol? Are you in España? Or are you Utah Jazz South America? There's all these little, like, what was it? T-Wolves Brazil. There's Jazz Uruguay. There are these little pockets of fans that exist in parts of South America. I don't know how they develop. Please enjoy the Aperol spritzes on the beach, and don't worry if a police chase happens. Thankfully, she knows about the police chases, but we're not going to leave dinner to come back and do one. That's why we'll watch them on delay. Salt and Pepper needs some. It needs some ocean time today. Twice a week since August 6th, PT. Oh, woof. At least it has you feeling better, but and you're still young. You're still young. You'll be feeling like new, I imagine. You're already in the gym. Do not take your youth. They say youth is wasted on the young for a reason, because the young don't appreciate what the benefits of youth, what they are. All right, you're 12, you're 13, you're 14, your body's like a rubber band. It can do anything. Once you get into your mid-30s, things just start to hurt. You got to stretch and make sure you're doing activities that you do not want to be getting Achilles surgery when you're in your late 30s. It'll take you a year and a half to recover. How do we, Hinge, yes. Utah Jazz Espanol says, I'm Utah Jazz Uruguay. We've talked, oh yes, of course. You upgraded after we went viral. Now we're getting close to being official. 10 years in the business, finally paying off. Did I see that Ryan Smith brought you up to a game? Brought you guys up for a game? What were the details of that? Was there travel? Did you guys pay your own travel? Did he just provide tickets and access? He's super sharp, by the way. So he is all about building community. And knowing him as long as I have, his number one priority is he loves the state of Utah because it's probably one of the most aesthetically pleasing states in regards to scenery, nature, weather, four seasons, skiing, hiking. You have no choice but to be healthy there. So he loves promoting the state of Utah, and part of that is having people that build community around their sports teams. Have I seen the guy who does Clippers art after every game? No. There's a couple of those accounts that do. Isn't there a Lakers guy that drew? He was really good. He drew like a summary of each game. I can't imagine that was a quick turnaround on some of those. He says, yeah, Jazz Espanol, yes, sir, I led all that. 6 home games, all included for us. Wow. He's the best. We've been all over the news. It's crazy. All over the news. Oh, so they're telling the people about visiting from, is it just Uruguay or all parts of South America? Have you expanded now to Europe as well? How much Spanish is spoken in, wait, other than Spain, obviously not England, Portugal, France, do they speak Spanish anywhere else in Europe? They don't. I'm going through all the countries. They don't even speak Spanish in Barcelona. It's Catalan. Italian, Greek. I just realized that. Man, they speak more Spanish in the Americas than they do in Europe. "32 South Americans, 20 Uruguayan, 5 Chilean, 6 Argentinians." Wow, impressive. Nicely done. Russian is the most commonly spoken. Oh, that's, yeah. That I could have told you. Russian is the most commonly spoken language in Europe, for sure. Do people have any idea how big Russia is in all its little satellite states? Or at least from the Soviet Union? Yeah, it's got to be Russian. I was thinking, by the way, as my big summer trip, I'm going to be going to Ireland, but that's more like September, my July vacation. I was originally going to go to New Zealand to go skiing because it's peak summer here, which means winter there. Well, I'm sorry, it was originally Phuket, Thailand, but I've kind of pivoted away from that. Then New Zealand, I canceled that. Then I was thinking about going to Banff in Alberta, but it's just insanely expensive. Like, I wouldn't even have fun. It's so expensive, despite being able to actually afford it. Then I was thinking about going to Whistler to play golf in Vancouver. But I've landed on, believe it or not, Mongolia, which for some reason, I've done my research. Did you know, like, the most popular language in the actual capital, especially amongst Gen Z and people in school right now, is English? So they speak a ton of English there. Ulaanbaatar is the capital. The weather is supposedly gorgeous and the pollution's at its lowest in July. So air pollution isn't as much of an issue. You can go into vast spaces of open land on horses and camelbacks and Gobi Desert. There's history with Genghis Khan, museums. What else? Oh, just like the basic Soviet type of structures. It's all pretty fascinating to me. I'll be sure. Yeah. Sounds like I had a good time at the Jazz game. Good to hear. And it does not surprise me that Ryan has found you guys and trying to bring in, like, he gives away his courtside tickets. He gives away his suite tickets for the Utah Mammoth all the time. You can see he does it on, if you don't follow him on Twitter, sometimes he's just like, hey, I'm giving away my tickets. Send me a reason why you should go. And he ends up usually picking like some cute kid that a parent is baiting him with in the comments, but it works. You got to do what you got to do. Super wholesome video to warm your system before the margaritas tonight. Yeah. I certainly support everything that he's doing there. So, and I'm close with Austin Ainge as well. So I'd say the Lakers and the Jazz are like my two closest allies. Like, wow, I don't even know if people at the Knicks know me. The Knicks are run like the KGB, so I don't live there. But I'd say the Jazz and the Lakers, from ownership down to some of the executives, the front offices, as well as the employees and PR team, they're my two closest. Got a couple of minutes left here, people. Last call, Closing Time. You know how many years it took me to realize the song Closing Time was not by Green Day? It's by, what's the name? Supersonic? Super something? Closing Time. Vancouver is, yeah, I need to go. Vancouver is a beautiful city from what I'm told. What clubs do? Oh, golf clubs? Semisonic. Thank you, Helwick. What did I say? Supersonic? Semisonic. How do you know everything? I gotta stop surrounding myself. Or I should probably surround myself with more people who can complete my sentences for me. What golf clubs do I have? Blades like Tommy Armour's. They're old. I only bring out the clubs maybe once a year. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't, Helwick knows everything, not me. That's the Hell Wikipedia. He's better than AI. Gotta find a way to get Helwick onto Jeopardy. And Helwick would win because he has actual sports knowledge. Every time they do a sports category, everyone on Jeopardy is just dead ass silent, stoic, staring into the camera. Closing time. They said from your audition in June that you would hear back within 2 years? Years? Damn. Roommate Katie and I once auditioned for The Amazing Race. I thought that was a lock. I thought we were going to get that. Go-to alcoholic drink: tequila, rocks, pour it, reposado. Very simple. I don't need anything else. When you get older, your tastes get more refined and you can deal with the straight liquor. You don't need all the sugar and shit. When you're a kid, you're drinking rum and cokes, Jack and Cokes. Ugh, too much sugar. Jalen Duren's starting tonight. Quick side note: did you guys see if Cade Cunningham does not qualify for all NBA, that Jalen Duren can sneak in and potentially get third team with the guys who are currently available or eligible? If Jalen Duren ends up getting all NBA, that means he's going to have an extension that's eligible for 50 million more dollars, which is going to affect the cap table for the Pistons significantly. And of course he's going to get it. What, are you not going to pay Jalen Duren? Yeah, it's the Mexican equivalent of dirty water. Dirty water was bourbon on the rocks, or whiskey, Tennessee whiskey. The same goes for like reposado on the rocks. I guess it's still technically dirty water because reposado is like gold and brown. Reed Sheppard in the starting lineup. You see that? Reed Sheppard in the starting lineup for the Rockets tonight? Who's out of it? Man, they're really changing things up there. Starting to get some updates. So that probably means like Tari Eason's out of it. Tari Eason screwed me, man. I've been on a cold streak this week. I had Tari Eason. I took his live over. I took his live over against the Lakers. All he had to do was score one more point with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he got two really good looks. Didn't make either. I thought that was the opportunity to buy on Tari. Two good looks, and I didn't get it. Damn. He played almost 9 game minutes. That was the game Luka went crazy. And they were doubling Kevin Durant, so he's going to be open. The problem is the guy that was always open for Houston was Amen Thompson. Rockets are starting at Sheppard, Thompson, Durant, Smith Jr., and Şengün. There's your answer. No Okogie, no Eason. Are people even watching the NBA? I mean, that San Antonio game was packed last night. The Miami game was packed. Carlos Alcaraz sitting courtside. It's so easy to get lost in like Twitter representing the real world when it most certainly does not. Like all of Twitter's like, we're not watching NBA tonight. We're focusing on World Baseball Classic. We're focusing on March Madness. Man, these places are sold out. There was a reason why the NBA is status quo most of the time, because they must be making money hand over fist. And the game was awesome. Spurs Suns was predicted to be a good game, and it was a great game. So it was Heat Lakers. Those were the two good games on the slate yesterday. Well, Hornets Magic, but it ended up being a blowout. And I have a massive future in play, people. I have the Atlanta Hawks to win that division, and they are currently at the top, the half-game lead, but right there are the Magic and the Heat. And I hedged this bet, by the way. So I have the Magic and the Heat. And the Hornets are probably 2 games back or 2.5 games back. I have the Hawks to win that division at plus 1,100 for the max. If they can hold, I will be in business. So go Hawks. Well, they should win tonight, but the Rockets are not terrible. Rockets are not terrible, and they're desperate. How the fuck did the Grizzlies win the other night? G.G. Jackson just got ruled out. So did Taj Gibson. They had Taj Gibson in the year 2026 guarding Nikola Jokic. How did you not win that fucking game? God damn. G.G. Jackson went crazy. Kuminga's having a blast. That ended up being one of the longest made shots in NBA history. Yeah, the Hawks are good, man. Yeah. Dude, the Grizzlies had lost, 12 in a row going into that? And now it was the second leg of a road back-to-back for Denver, but it shouldn't matter. Like, the Grizzlies are getting destroyed all season. Oh, is that no. Nothing will ever be as big as Shohei Ohtani. I had that Shohei Ohtani max money. Think about how much a sports book allows you to bet on futures. I bet the max on Ohtani to win MVP at 40-1 during his first MVP season with the Angels. Thank you, Shohei. Thank you, Shohei. Makes up for all the other misses. I've had some 2 mega payouts. Shohei Ohtani MVP, Andrew Wiggins to lead the 2022 NBA Finals in rebounding. And that he just squeaked past in that final game with Al Horford sneaking up behind him. I will never forget that game, that final game, because it was over. It was blowout time. And everyone came off the floor because the Warriors were getting ready to celebrate. But for some reason, Al Horford was still out there getting rebounds. And he was chipping away at Wiggins' total. And I was stressing out because it was 52-1. Andrew Wiggins to lead, which is the most insane number I've ever seen. 52-1. Because in the series previous to it, Andrew Wiggins' sole responsibility was crashing the glass from the corners. It was Steve Kerr's strategy. And I'm like, he is the guy for Golden State that's going to get all the rebounds. How does no one see this? Yeah, and Denver got, by the way, Danny, Denver got that game within 2, and I was like, oh, this shit's over. Denver's going to win this game by double digits. As soon as they erased that lead, I made the perfect bet at the right time. I scooped up a number. Why wouldn't I hedge off of it? I could have very easily. Why didn't I fucking hedge off of it when the lead got down to 2? Well, because the lead got down to 2, I think, in the fourth quarter. And even then, the Grizzlies were probably no more than they were maximum like 2-1 underdog because they were still winning. I guess I could have hedged all of these bets instead of getting. Why didn't I do that? Could have hedged my risk and just pocketed less with the profit, but I chose not to. I guess you should always hedge in the NBA because of score differential volatility. And if you can just arbitrage a nice buy, you should just do it every time and like earn interest. The same concept as earning interest on your good wagers and then just wait till the final result. Who cares? You're either going to Get your money back or win a little bit. It's okay. Thank you for the condolences, but UNC and their 6 or 7 championship banners will be just fine. As will Caleb Wilson, who's about to make millions of dollars. And Seth Trimble got paid a shit ton to come back anyway, so they're all fine. The transfers all got paid, they're fine. No one is sad. Hubert Davis might get fired, all is fine. On that note, I do need to go get ready. It's been a pleasure, my friends. Thanks for spending your Friday with me. I'll be back on Monday, same time, 3:15 p.m. Pacific time. And there'll be no overlapping March Madness to distract us. On your way out, hit the like button, hit the retweet button if you wouldn't mind. Much appreciated. Shout out to Prophet X as always. Thanks for sponsoring this stream. You guys have a good weekend. If there's a police chase, I'll be back at some point. But until then, see you on the timeline.